He stole my phone. That black guy took it. Somebody stop him. 8:04 a.m. A crowded subway train. People standing shoulder to shoulder during the morning rush. Out of the silence, a panicked scream erupts. A white man clutches his pocket, wide-eyed, and then points toward his suspect. A quiet black man sitting by the window, listening to music. Jamal Carter, 30 years old. A black elementary school teacher. He wears simple jeans and a gray hoodie. He adjusts his glasses, pulls out his earbuds, and looks around in shock, confused and embarrassed. What are you talking about? I didn't touch anything. But the shouting man has already pressed the emergency button. The people around Jamal exchange suspicious glances. Whispers begin to ripple through the crowd. What happened? Someone's phone got stolen. Who was it? As the train reaches the station, the doors slide open. 3 white police officers board and head straight for Jamal. One of them yells, "Hands up! Now! Wait! Please! I was just sitting here." No one listens. One officer grabs Jamal by the arm and forces him to the ground. Another officer rifles through his pocket. Jamal's phone drops to the floor. Its screen lights up with a missed call from his mom. "Found a phone. Might be his," one of the cops says. Jamal shouts, "That's my phone! I can unlock it. Just let me prove it." But no one listens. His hands are twisted behind his back. The metal cuffs snap into place. The crowd silently watches, stepping back. Jamal lifts his head, staring blankly at the subway ceiling. A cop mutters beside him, "We hear this story every day. No one's innocent in this city." Jamal swallows hard. In that moment, he realizes, being innocent won't be enough, because his appearance already gave the verdict. Jamal is pushed by a police officer and dragged up the steps of the police station in handcuffs. Someone in the crowd shouts, "Why are you treating him like this? He didn't do anything." The officer doesn't even look back. He looked guilty. Experience speaks. "Go ahead. We've seen a lot of things you haven't. Don't look innocent. And don't you dare try to teach me my job." The man who made the accusation has already started talking to the press. "I noticed that my phone was missing. Then I saw that man leave my seat. I don't know him, but sometimes a face can tell you everything." Chaos at the entrance to the station. Jamal, in chains, is still trying to show his identity, that of a teacher. "I am a teacher. Please, give me a chance. Let me unlock my phone and prove it." The policeman grins, takes the ID, reads it, crumples it, and throws it on the ground. "A teacher, huh? Everyone is something in this city. But if you want us to believe you're innocent, you better prove it. There is no other way." Jamal's eyes fill with tears, and tears well up in his eyes because of the treatment he has experienced. He shrugs and falls silent. He knows what happened is wrong, but words fail him. The crowd is dwindling, and while some people think that this teacher deserved it, only one person knows that he is innocent. A few people put their phones down. Some turn away. The police car stopped in front of the station, but Jamal still couldn't grasp what had just happened. The door opened, and someone pulled him by the arm. His eyes were tired, but he kept looking around, still clinging to the faint hope that someone might believe him. As he stepped inside, the handcuffs came off, but the weight remained heavy on his shoulders. He scanned the room for help, but every look he met was cold. He was taken into an interrogation room. Gray walls, cracked chairs, cheap flickering lights. 2 white officers were already inside. One took a seat behind the desk, while the other stood guard by the door, arms folded. One officer glanced at Jamal and smirked. "Another cell phone case? You guys really have a passion for this stuff." Jamal quietly extended his ID and teacher badge. No response. No one even touched them. They were left lying on the table, untouched. The second officer leaned forward without even opening the file. "Let me just ask, why were you on the subway? Were you scouting your target?" "I was going to work," Jamal replied. His voice was fragile but calm. "I'm a teacher. Please, just check my phone. I can unlock it. I know the code." The first cop laughed out loud. The other tilted his head, eyeing him with disdain. "Of course you know the code. They all do now. Let me guess. You're a Harvard graduate too? Every black guy who says I'm a teacher thinks he's a damn role model." Jamal looked down. A brief silence filled the room. Then one officer suddenly stood up and slammed his fist on the table. "Tell me! Where's the phone you stole? Where'd you toss it?" I didn't steal anything." The officer leaned back in his chair and smiled. That's how every guilty man starts. His partner pulled out a form and, without even beginning the statement, said to his colleague, "Guys like him don't need a story. Their face is the crime, and then they act like the victim." Jamal felt his chest tighten. Inside his jacket pocket, he carried a small handwritten note from one of his students, a thank you card. His hands trembled as he reached for it, but the officer slapped his hand away. "Save the drama. There's no camera in here, no stage for your little act." Jamal was led to a solitary holding cell. The door slammed shut behind him. Under the dim, buzzing light, he leaned against the wall in silence. And in that silence, he understood something. It wasn't the accusation that hurt the most. It was being condemned without ever being heard. He closed his eyes. All that remained in the dark was the sound of his breathing. The courtroom was silent. But it wasn't the silence of justice. It was the echo of a truth being buried. As Jamal walked in with chains around his ankles, every eye turned to him. His clothes were wrinkled, his eyes sunken, his face painted as if he had already confessed. But what was shown wasn't the truth. The judge raised his head and skimmed through the file. Then he looked at Jamal, not with curiosity, but with quiet condemnation. That look didn't seek the truth. It confirmed a decision already made. The prosecutor stood. His voice was firm, yet loaded with bias. The defendant matches the description given by the alleged victim. Observations by staff at the scene also confirm his suspicious behavior. Camille Ross, Jamal's attorney, rose next. Young, razor-sharp, and fearless. She held up documentation showing Jamal's phone remained locked during the entire incident. My client's phone was still locked at the moment of his arrest. This device is his personal property. The unlock code belongs to no one else. The judge raised his hand, cutting her off. In cases like these, there's always a misunderstanding narrative. The phone was found on the floor, and if there was criminal intent, why must everything require undeniable proof? Sometimes, intent is a crime. A tense silence swept through the room. Jamal looked at the judge, stunned. Intent is a crime now, he thought. There was no evidence, only assumptions and suspicion. Camille tried to interject again, but the judge continued. Lack of evidence doesn't mean the act didn't occur. Sometimes we must weigh the unseen. Jamal slowly closed his eyes. In that moment, he realized this wasn't a place for justice. It was a hall that affirmed old patterns, not challenged them. And then, a hand shot up in the crowd. A young man in the back stood and raised his voice. I work with the facial recognition system at the subway station. I have the footage from that day. Jamal Carter never touched the phone. It's all here, clear as day. All heads turned toward him. The silence shattered like glass. The judge's face went pale. Camille spun around instantly. Your Honor, truth has just stood up. Will you silence it too, or will you listen? For the very first time. Time seemed to freeze in the courtroom. The young man's voice still echoed. He never touched that phone. The footage is right here. Would you like to see it? The judge hesitated. The prosecutor stood to object, but Camille Ross stepped forward confidently, placing a screen on the judge's bench. A USB stick clicked into place. The lights dimmed. Surveillance and facial recognition footage from the metro station lit up the giant screen. Jamal enters the station and waits in line. He sits quietly by the window, putting on his headphones. The white man drops his own phone from his pocket. Jamal remains completely still. The white man notices his phone missing, panics, and points directly at Jamal. Whispers rippled through the courtroom. Some jury members looked down. The prosecutor covered his face. The judge leaned back, speechless. Camille turned to the room. In this courtroom, a man's skin color spoke louder than any evidence. But technology didn't stay silent, and today it spoke so clearly it couldn't be ignored. The judge gently brought the gavel down. The verdict was clear. The defendant, Jamal Carter, is acquitted of all charges. Due to the officer's prejudiced and baseless intervention, an internal investigation into the responding unit will commence. All testimony contradicting the Metro's verified surveillance footage is hereby dismissed. There was no applause, only silence, not out of indifference but because everyone was processing it. A man's entire life was nearly erased, saved only by a video file. Camille looked at Jamal. In his eyes was the first glimmer of silent victory. His eyes welled, but he didn't cry. He stood tall and found his mother in the back row, their eyes locked. As Jamal exited the courthouse, reporters swarmed, microphones in hand. But he walked past them all, straight into his mother's arms. All I did was board a train, but the whole world lined up to take me down. Today, justice saved me. But if that camera hadn't been there, maybe I never would have had a voice again. What about the ones without proof? One video saved a life, but thousands with no footage remain unheard.